Hey team, Josh Martin here from Tailored Mortgages Tauranga. I hope we've all had a great December. As we wrap up 2023, I wanted to talk about three key things that are happening at the moment that will have an impact on the housing market in 2024. If you're a first home buyer, I don't really like the question, is this a good time to buy in this kind of forum? As I don't think there's a generic answer that applies to everyone watching. I think it always comes down to individual circumstances. But if it is something that you're asking yourself, these are some key things playing out right now that are important to be aware of. So firstly, of course, we've had a change in government, and with that, some changes around taxation for investment properties. The two key changes here is a reduction in bright line tax from the current 10-year window down to 2 years. This will have two key impacts. One is that we may see some properties come to the market as investors may be able to sell sooner without the bright line implications. But the underlying reason for the reduction in this window is to make property investments a bit more appealing. So this will also have an impact on the demand side from investors. The next key change from the government is the reintroduction of interest deductibility. This piece of taxation has a significant impact on cash flows on investment properties, as it is how the interest on a mortgage is deductible tax expense. So again, the underlying reason for this policy change is to make property investment a bit more appealing to investors, to try and bring some more supply to the already very tight rental market we have in New Zealand. Speaking of supply, the next key point that we have that will have a bearing on the property market next year is migration. So you may have seen that we've now had a record net migration of 129,000 people in the last year. There's a lot of new people requiring housing, and with new builds forecasted to be around 30 to 35,000 new homes next year, we're not able to create the supply to keep up demand. This will likely have impacts on the cost of renting a home, but also if we look at the property market, it's going to have a large influence on that supply and demand curve. So the third point that's going to have a major influence on the market next year is going to be interest rates. There's certainly some talks of interest rate pressures easing, and there is data to support that. But on the other hand, we do have a Reserve Bank saying that another OCR hike is likely next year. We've already got a lot of pressure in Kiwi households at the moment, and interest rates will have a large bearing on the market and how it plays out. Interest rates are going to dictate how much you can borrow, how affordable housing is, and what property looks like as an investment vehicle as well. So it's really probably the most important influence on the housing market that we'll see next year. So again, this is just wanting to touch on some key factors that are playing out right now that are going to have some impacts on the market. I think it's always important to be aware of what's going on, and I think the more informed you can be, the better decision you can make. I hope you and your families have a safe and happy Christmas. If you want to talk through any of this and what it means to you, please don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email, and happy to chat through this in a bit more detail. Thanks and Merry Christmas.